Hello. Lights, camera. Are we recording? Yeah. Yes. It says we are. Are you there? Can you hear me? Wake up. Okay. This is a video that comes from a question. So, this is another segment of Allastrology's I Got a Question. And the question says, we're pulling it up right now. We're going to take a look. Sorry. Come on. And then something else popped on the phone at the same time. So I'm like, yikes. All right. So I am trying to catch up on all these questions and requests. And so bear with me if you had a question or a recommendation for a video. And if I said, oh, that's going to be that sounds like a good one for a video, I am going to, hopefully you're the person hopefully this is your request. And if not, I will get to it. And it's okay to give me a reminder. Like if you're like, she's doing all these videos and I still haven't seen the one I requested. So here we go. Actually, this was just a really quick one. And it basically just said, do you happen to have a cheat sheet for all of the symbols that you use in the chart readings? There's a couple that are not as commonly used and not as easy to find information about. So we're going to dive into that. Thank you for the question. It's an excellent question, and you're right. There are some things on the charts that you may not normally see. I think that's one of the things that people get drawn to, at least those people who get drawn to this channel, is it's the charts more than me, right? They first see that chart and they're like, whoa, this person's insane. Look at all this stuff they got on here, and like, well, what is all this, And so there's that curiosity. And a big part of this process of looking at charts and looking at charts with all the extra stuff were a lot of them from requests from viewers who were just like, hey, G, do you ever follow this? And what do you think about it? And I would be like, no, actually, I didn't give that a second thought, right? And so some of those extra glyphs that you'll see are from viewers' recommendations. Viewers like you, right? And then other ones were just like impressions. Literally, I'm working, and all of a sudden it's just like, check this out, start following it. And so I do. So it's kind of a mosh podge of it's a creation. Your guys' suggestions and me together. So that's what this video is going to be about. Yeah. Some of you might not be into all that, but for those who are serious seekers of the sacred wisdom, stick around. This one's going to be for you. And now we're going to pull up a chart. Ta-da. So what I'm going to do is going to go one by one. I don't know how many parts this will be. We'll see. We shall see. Okay. I always have to check like if we're recording and what's going on. Sometimes it's just bizarre. So far it's looking good. So we're just going to start at the very beginning. What's that song? The Sound of Music, right? Julie Andrews. Who doesn't love Julie Andrews? Oh my God. I went to an all Catholic grade school. I just said I went to an all Catholic grade school. It was co-ed. I don't know why the word's all Catholic, like why the word all popped in there. Normally somebody would say an all girl or an all boy high school or something, because I haven't heard of an all girl or boy grade school. But anyway, Mercury, not out of the retrograde zone yet, not out of the shadow zone yet. Anyway, so it was a Catholic school, and one of our field trips, no joke, was to take us to the theater, like an actual theater, right? Which was a big deal because this was a Catholic school, right? And this wasn't recently, right? No. You see all the gray hairs. These are real gray hairs. um, and we got to see The Sound of Music. And I'm gonna tell you, when we heard we were going to the show, it was like, okay. And then we heard, oh, well, you're going to see The Sound of Music. And at that time, the only thing I had heard about it was all nuns. It was about nuns. And we were just like, what the hell? No way. So it was like so bittersweet. Okay, so you're going to take us to go to the show, but then you're going to make us watch a movie about nuns. So you're going to try to not just convert us, but you want us to like, like we were young. I think I was in 4th grade, maybe 5th, maybe. I was young. Yeah, because I still had older siblings in the school above me. So same anyway. So yeah, I had to be like in the 4th grade or something. But it turned out to be amazing. Amazing. Singing when I was a child, for me, that was a way for me to keep sane. To keep sane, to be in my happy place, to be safe, to just do one thing that was just for me that I loved, that I loved. And so going to see this movie, it was like a revelation for me. There were nuns and they were singing, and there were other things, of course, in the movie, but it was a musical. And dare I say, was it my very first musical movie ever? Right? I don't know. I can't remember. I remember being young watching West Side Story because my older siblings were like, "Oh my god, it's West Side Story." And so I might have already seen a musical, but anyway, I love musicals to this day and I love music, and how the hell did we get on this? Oh, I said let's start at the very beginning. So, if you saw A Sound of Music, you know the next words, right? What are they? Start at the very beginning, right? So we are going to do that. We're going to start at the very beginning, and we're going to go. You're going to see me kind of go fast through some of the things that are very general. All right. So we're going to start off, and we're just going to go around the chart. I don't want to have to be all over the place. So we're just going to go around the chart, and that is the sun. So the beauty of astrology and the symbology is that it is universal. Now, with that, I will add, you may see different symbols, glyphs for things like Pluto and Capricorn, right? So some of them you'll see these fancy or very different, and it's like, why are there 3 different symbols for the same sign? Again, this video isn't to explain that. It's just to say that sometimes that happens. Okay. But the sun is always this. I haven't seen the sun ever showed any other way. Right. So it's the circle with the dot in the middle. That's the sun. Okay. And so the sun represents your energy, your light. It is your radiance, how you shine. Right. Your radiance and how you shine. So when I say it's your energy in your chart, it is literally how you recharge your battery. So if your energy goes down, you're like, damn, I need to recharge. I need to go plug in somewhere, right? That's the sun. That's important. Your sun sign and being involved in those types of activities will rejuvenate you. So that is the glyph. Oh, it's getting kind of pixelated, isn't it? That is the glyph for the sun. Let me get rid of this thing. I don't know what it's doing. It just got, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, next. Juno. Juno. I don't know if I've ever seen Juno look any other way. If you do know that it's looked some other way, other than that, let me know. But I've only seen Juno like that. Juno is feminine energy. This is the wife of Jupiter, right? Jupiter is masculine energy. Juno is feminine energy. So pay attention to Juno in your chart. It's important. It also represents the ability to commit. And this is marriage and partnership energy, normally not business, but I could argue business depending upon what sign it's in and where it's at in someone's chart, right? Makes sense? Right. So that's Juno. It's a pretty big deal. The next one is this little star. And you're going to see these little stars in this chart because they don't have their own symbols. So they've shown them their glyphs are just like this little star. And this is for the software that I use. It is very possible that Sirius, Sirius, and this is not Sirius Black, okay? Sirius is a feminine energy. It's more of like a mother goddess energy. Sirius. Let me read a little bit more on Sirius. The brightest star, spiritual star of immense power. Traditionally, it offers fame and success. It can be turbulent and dangerous. It is a star of magic, intense creativity, great risks, and great rewards. It offers, and it's a deep, hard-earned understanding of the universe. So Sirius is quite powerful, fixed star. So you just want to keep in mind that wherever that is in your chart, it's likely not moved much, right? Like when you pull up the transits, it's probably in the same location even. Okay. Sirius. Next one. This is one of the common ones. Venus, right? There she is, right? Venus, Miss America. Yeah, I say Miss America because Venus is more about being pretty, and it's harmonized. When we think of sound, it's balanced, it's beautiful, it's pleasant. Venus is about, because she rules 2 signs, right? She rules Taurus and Libra. You know, there are differences between those 2, but think of Venus as kind of like Miss Congeniality, except not that Miss Congeniality, right? So Venus likes clothing and makeup and beauty. Venus is all about things being beautiful and harmony. There was another word that I kept hearing, and it's gone already. It came out so fast, right when I started talking about Venus. But think about things being fair and balanced, but even more than that, you know, like think of when you are creating a recipe or copying a recipe for that matter. And why does it say how much salt to put in and how much pepper? Like, why are there measurements? Why can't we just throw that crap in? Some of us do that, right? Some of us are like, oh, whatever, I just make my own. But sometimes there's a recipe and you're following it, and it's because there's a reason there. There's the idea of the balance, right? The balance of the flavors, the sour, the sweet, the salty, right? There's a balance, the savory, there's a balance of flavors. And so Venus is very much about that and those 5 senses. But again, when you think about Libran energy and partnerships, love and fairness, equality, who I love, what I love, desire, right? That's desire. That's Venus. All right, next one is Vulcan. You're going to see there's 2 symbols for Vulcan on the software. 2 different symbols for Vulcan. And the reason being is because the traditional Vulcan, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. But this one, how about that? This one they call Vulcanus. And it's on the chart because I'm kind of studying it. I'm not sure how much it actually produces. When I say produces, like if events have occurred in my life, and can I say, oh my gosh, look, Vulcanus was here. That was part of this event. Or like nothing really occurred, nothing happened, you know. And sometimes certain events are stronger than others, and there is multiple reasons other than a person's awareness of why that can be. So I know I'm adding a lot of little extras in here, but with those little extras, you might have questions for future videos for me to further explain, which is the reason I'm doing that, because I want to do videos that you guys want to see. You know, like that makes sense, right? Yeah. And I find that some of the most awesome videos absolutely are ones that I haven't thought of to do because there's just so there's never a loss of ideas for videos with astrology. Never. I'm really more like, oh my God, where do I begin? Which one should I do? Now, for this software, unfortunately, this is telling me that it doesn't. Hold on a second. All I got to do is do this and it'll have it. So that one's Volcanus. This one is telling me there's no text, there's no information available for right now. And sometimes it'll have information, sometimes it won't. I'm sorry, it's not giving me information on this one right now. But I've noticed that the software, like I could do the same thing tomorrow and all of a sudden there'll be words there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's Volcanus. I do know that if it's powerful like Vulcan, it's the forger of metals. So it applies heat and pressure typically. I do know that about Vulcan energy. Heat and pressure has the power to create and destroy. Next, we're going to Mars. Are we going to Mars? Can we live there? Have we figured that out yet? I don't know about you, but I think this planet is amazing. Mars, yeah. I have no desire to go there, to live there. None whatsoever. But this Mars right here, right? This Mars is one of the typical symbols. It's not too confusing. Don't think I've seen Mars in any other way other than that one. Maybe you've seen him with 2 arrows at the end of that circle. And I'm not even sure if that's Mars. I think I've seen that before somewhere. You know, a lot of times people try to change the symbols. They're like, and I know I did too myself when I first started with the astrology because I was just all into, anyway, my history doesn't matter. So the Mars energy, our body, our actions. Right now, have you guys been feeling it? Have you been feeling the Mars in Leo? You know, for me, increase of energy immediately. Why? Why would that be? It's Mars in Leo, so it's very physical. But Mars in Leo it's not just that. It's the fact of what is it transiting? Like, what is it aspecting? What is it having a conversation with? So it's squaring Taurus, it's squaring Scorpio. And anytime you get like Mars squaring Mars, you get more power. Mars squaring Mars is like two wars going on, right? Power over here and power over here. But it's Mars trining Aries because it's in Leo. So it's trining Aries. So it's the body trining the body. So we're feeling a little bit more, woo, you know, like we got some energy and some power. And that's Mars, the actions of your body. And it's your appearance, your appearance. Don't ever let me forget that. I sometimes forget to mention that with Mars. It's how you look, the cover of the book. When somebody first walks up and sees you for the first time, it's like, that's so-and-so. This is Pallas Athena. You see, so she's got a diamond for her head. She's got the arms, right, like a stick figure, but she's got a diamond for the head, not a circle. And that's to show you that she thinks differently. She can strategize, right? She's the one on the field, the general, the female general throws a map down and can plot and coordinate and it's like, okay, this is the plan. Like she is the strategist. Feminine warrior strategist is who Pallas Athena is. They give her the keywords of the creative thinker because she's thinking in different ways and not necessarily using logic all the time. It's kind of almost, I see her as using like the left and the right side of the brain coming together when I see Pallas Athena. That's kind of how I see it. Next, we all know this one. And if you don't, now you will. Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith. I'm hearing bad Leroy Brown. Well, this is Black Moon Lilith. She gets a bad rap. She for sure does. Because whenever something happens and it's like, oh my God, it was very unsettling. That was disturbing. That was upsetting. That was, like, I don't want to experience that again. Black Moon Lilith usually has her hand in it somewhere. Again, this was, I knew about Black Moon Lilith many, many years ago. And it just had such a negative meaning. I was like, I don't need this. Like, I don't want to hear about this crap, like there's enough negative and, life is hard enough. And so I just thought I'm not even going to plot her. And then major events occurred and it was like I'm choosing to be ignorant by not plotting her. I'm choosing the ignorance by not putting her on the chart. So I thought, well, I have to put her on the chart because she's proven that she absolutely demonstrates in the real world. Well, whatever the hell we call the real world, the 3D. She shows up and she's part of it. She's in the recipe of events. Whenever you look, you're like, oh, this is here, that's there. And oh, snap, there was Black Moon Lilith in a very powerful position to send some not so wonderful things happening. Next, and this was a recent question from a recent a video this morning or yesterday in the comments. The two Venuses, right? They look like two women. Well, they're two Venuses. We'll put it like that. And we know Venus is female, right? That's why I say two women. But Venus and Venus, this is Sappho. Sappho. Let me double check the spelling. And I realized I probably should have spelled some of those other ones. Just put it in the comments if you want me to spell the one. If there's some on here that you're not too sure how to spell them, like because you might want to Google and see, okay, let me see if I can get some more information about this or whatever. Just put it into the comments so that I can help you. If you're still here, if this is your thing. Sappho, I'm going to read Sappho from the software. It's definitely feminine energy. Yeah, Sappho. She was a real person who lived on the Isle of Lesbos and was known for her lyric poetry. I don't even know if that's how I pronounce that right. Lesbos, Lesbos. And was known for her lyric poetry, sometimes referred to as the 10th muse. Most of her poetry was directed towards women. It's about deepest desires, most basic wants, exaggerated importance of object of desire, difficulty understanding how to obtain this object. And then the next sentence is only 2 words, sexual focus. Sappho. Okay. So that explains this is more of feminine on feminine energy. 2 Venuses. I was right when I said 2 Venuses. That was appropriate. Regulus, REG, and that star that I talked about in the beginning, where we have like these fixed stars that are so slow up in the sky that it's literally decades before we even see them make a movement, or lifetimes for that matter, before they even move. And so Regulus is another slow mover. So they just get that star for the fixed star. And it's got REG below it. And yeah, so for right now, Regulus is at 0 degrees of Virgo, folks. 0 degrees and 9 minutes of Virgo. Yeah, this is a chart of the moment too, by the way. Not that it matters because I'm not really into that. This is really just about the symbols and the glyphs. Regulus, the royal star of Persia. It's Latin for little king. It's grandly regal, sometimes high-handed, material success and strong personal qualities, sometimes difficulty containing aggressive nature. This is the sign for someone who is born to rule. It is the ancient promise of glory, fame, and fortune. I will add here that for some of the older generations, like my Regulus is in Leo, okay? And Regulus now being in Virgo, we're figuring out, oh, we got a kitty cat. We're figuring out what that definition is going to be because Regulus has been in Leo for so long. And an example of Regulus in Leo on a person's ascendant, the previous president of the United States. Number 45, right? That was his number. Yeah. And so when you see the mannerism, a Leo ascendant, like a lion holding their chin up high, like they're looking down upon their subjects, right? Right? And born to rule? Well, um, yeah, I don't want to get political, but either way, Regulus was on that president's ascendant. Hold on. I have to sit back so that she can come up because she's oh, she figured it out. Okay, you figured it out. Come on. Turn that butt around. Come on. Okay, she's not going to turn the butt around. Can you let me finish my job here? All right, here we go. The next one. You see that one? Let me turn my little arrow. I don't even know where the hell it is. It's not little anymore. Oh my God. Okay, just hang on with me. My arrow is just, there we go. Can I get my hand back? Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so this is Persephone. Really interesting point. The glyph, if you look closely at the glyph, it has the circle on top, and then it looks like it's about to make that stick figure like Venus, right? So it's like half of Venus, and then the other half of Venus's body goes below. See how it swings down and goes below? Well, this is Persephone, right? And what is the myth? What does the myth tell us about Persephone? Persephone was abducted by Hades. She became the queen of the underworld, goddess of spring growth, the daughter of Demeter, becoming aware of separation from parents and all that is familiar to you. It's the journey into adulthood. So it's leaving home or being sent away from a comfortable surrounding and familiarity into the unknown. Separation anxiety, being a victim, transforming oneself from victimhood to empowerment. Did I say that boldly enough? So that's Persephone. So separation anxiety, Persephone. All right, we're moving around the chart and we are coming to Ceres, Ceres. My spelling, I think, is getting a little better. Ceres. This is about grain and food. It's also about nurturing. I am going to read what's from the software, but I will also come back around again to the grain and the food part. Okay, so what do you know? It's saying no information available for Ceres. Well, Ceres is known to be connected. It's very similar to the moon. Very similar. The definition that this software gives is that it is very similar to moon energy. So we think of mom and nurturing and emotional needs, right? Ceres, though, I think is the body mind connection. And in addition to that is also food, meaning, do we nurture ourselves with food? Do we understand the connection between eating certain foods and feeling a certain way? You follow? Some astrologers even assign this Ceres as being a ruler of the sign Virgo. Some astrologers I've heard say that Ceres is a co-ruler of Virgo with Mercury. And I don't really know. Even though I'm saying all the things that I'm saying, I don't know. I haven't made a decision on that yet in my own mind. I feel like I need to observe Ceres in all the signs a little bit more and just track it a little bit better. I do know that in my chart, Ceres actually rules my chart. It's the highest planet, the highest point of all the points in my chart. And food for me and my food sensitivities has ruled my life, truly. So, yeah. Is it about the moon? Is it about nurturing and emotionally, how I nurture myself? I didn't ever hear that about Ceres until this particular software showed it as that. This particular software also didn't mention it at all as being Ceres, um, connected to Demeter, god of the grains. But in other teachings, it's all about the grains, and I completely understand that. Like, it made sense for me in my chart. So we're just gonna go on this journey together, and please put your information in down below if you have information that you think can be pertinent, because this channel is to help those who are here and now, but it's also to be a resource for those into the future. Here's the moon. We know the symbol of the moon. And you know what? There have been times when you see the moon facing that way, or you'll see it turned around and facing the other way. I don't know, like, the significance of that, and if that's even, might just be me being over Taffy's messing with my with my pen, but being too acutely aware of the details. But the moon, similar to Ceres, right? We just talked about it. The moon definitely is about your family and your home and your mom, feminine energy, nurturing how I feel emotionally satisfied. But my emotional security, you'll hear me talk about the moon and the fourth house as though it's your security blanket. So, what sign is your moon in? Like, that's your security blanket. It makes you feel emotionally stable. This is also ancestry and your tribe and the past. And so, we often talk about it as other lifetimes, depending upon what you believe. Could just be your soul's history, your soul's memory, whatever you want to call it. All right, we are going around the mountain here. I got to get I'm using one hand. Taffy's wants to be front and center, which is fine, but I can only use one hand. I'm using my left hand. Not a big deal, but we're just going a little slower today with that. Okay, this is HAUMEA, and she's right there. Yeah. Yeah, you see right now she's at 29 degrees in Libra. Yeah, I know I see you by the wires. So HAUMEA, let me click on it so I can at least spell HAUMEA for you guys. HAUMEA, HAUMEA. Okay. And HAUMEA is like a Hawaiian goddess of I don't know if they use the word fertility, but it's all about being able to restore order, to restore life to a degree, like especially if there's been destruction and after a fire, everything's burnt and black, and then all of a sudden you see that little sprig of green pop up, and it's like, there's HAUMEA, the promise of, all is not lost. And oh yeah, here it does say that Hawaiian goddess of fertility, childbirth, mother of fire, goddess. I don't know if it's Pele, Pele, the unity of opposites, seeking the larger order in apparent randomness, the drive towards ultimate peace and harmony, feminine healing and creative energy. Women, you got power. Recognize it, ladies. You got power. Yep. It's like, no wonder we're always being disregarded and trying to be ignored, and as if we don't deserve to have a place at the table or have a say and have a voice in things, because the reality is, yeah, I don't need to say anything else. Here's a horseshoe. Yep. This is a node. Do you know which node this is? We did a video. Oh, actually, I've done a million of them, but I talked about the nodes and how to distinguish the difference between the nodes. Yeah. The horseshoe, the round completed part is well, it's completed. It's something we've already done and perfected. It's something that we already mastered even. It's like our superpower because we've already done it. We took all the classes. Well, not only did we get the t-shirt, we made the damn t-shirt. We made it ourselves. You get it? So this is the South Node, your superpower, something you have carried over from, it's like your soul's history, your soul's memory. It's an innate gift that you come in with in your lifetime. South Node, very powerful, very important. The moon's nodes are so important. And that's the thing about astrology that's wickedly wild, because I was just talking about feminine energy. is the moon's nodes and the moon and the new moons, the full moons, feminine energy. Again, when those things move, when they get to a certain point and aspect things, talk to things, and it's from a certain angle, things happen. Things happen. All right. This is Hermes. I have recently put Hermes on the chart. I was strongly guided to do so. And I believe I did a video on Hermes. So maybe I will remember to link it below. But Hermes, son of Zeus, messages and writing, record keeping, the scribe, but like the master scribe, right? Hermes was supposed to be bringing in the messages from and the information from the gods, right? So it wasn't just like being a reporter like Mercury, right? But really bringing in some high tuned stuff, right? Cunning, taking the mind beyond traditional limitations, able to assist communication between parties that don't seem to be able to find common ground, okay? Or within even parts of self, okay? Where you just, yeah, there's just so much division. Call upon Hermes to see the way through, to find that bridge, to build that bridge, to be the bridge. I know I'm kind of wordy today, aren't I? I'm like really wordy. I noticed that earlier. I was answering comments and emails and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, G, you are like wordy-gurdy or something today. I'm not the only one. I noticed boondocking with Dennis in his video. He was cracking me up. I don't think he realizes it, but he was rhyming like every 3 words. And I don't think he did it on purpose because he was just being himself, but it was just so funny to listen to. I was like, yeah, he was cracking me up. All right, another star. So we know this is like a fixed point up in the sky, right? And this is called it just says GAL. That's for the Galactic Center, known as a very powerful point. And it's important to know where that is in your chart. Pay attention to it. It doesn't move fast, right? So the Galactic Center is, I'm going to give you what I have found it to be in my studies. The software doesn't really give any definitions, but the Galactic Center is a real point. And, you know, when you talk to astronomers or, you know, all those really smart people, it's a black hole. It's a black hole. Well, a black hole is kind of like a vacuum. You know, it's sucking in everything around it. And this is what you have to kind of pay attention to, are the traits of all these points and planets and celestial bodies. You pay attention to their natural traits. And that's how we know what they mean, right? Obviously, we observe first. You know, you got to be scientific. Astrology, you got to observe and see, does this produce? Does this demonstrate this? Is this true? Is it true? And that's probably one of the things I really loved about astrology is that for myself, I approached it like I was in an experiment, honestly. And yeah, I'm still waiting for it to prove wrong, but it hasn't gotten there yet. So for the Galactic Center, my definition so far and what I've come to believe about the Galactic Center, that vacuum, that point of need, an extreme point of need in our chart, an extreme need. So it's really important to understand the sign that it's in. And I think for everybody alive, anyone breathing, it's in the sign of Sagittarius because it's a very slow mover. So there's truth and freedom, my ability to have my own beliefs, my spirituality, freedom of religion, the Galactic Center, this great need, right? It's also higher learning, to continue to learn, but it's also foreign learners and foreign lands and foreign languages, Sagittarius. Let's not forget, Sagittarius is also can elaborate and exaggerate and add to things. Doesn't have to be on purpose, right? But they are really about, let's just go big, right? It can be very generous energy, can be very generous, very optimistic and very courageous, but really the next word, courage, is Leo. It's confidence. Sag is confidence. Confidence. So we think about the galactic center and the house number that it's in, and think about that extreme need. And then also remember that Sagittarius is prone to having unconscious judgments because it is connected to like Christianity. And think about that. Think about that. I know, Mama, you can come up here. She's like, I'm ready to eat. Okay, we're going to cut this video in half. So, right here, the last one, because it's 5 minutes after dinner. So, we'll do a part two. This last one, which means we've done halfway through the chart, even though we haven't even gotten through half of the glyphs because they're all piled into, right now, they're all piled into Scorpio and Aries and Pisces. So, this is Cupido. And there's no information here at this time, but I know it's all about that look of love. Cupid, when the arrow, Cupid pulls its arrow and you're like, "Oh my God, I love that person," and you don't even know them. Like you haven't even shared words and you just look and you're like, "Oh my God," right? Kind of like that Cupid effect. Okay? So that's Cupid. And we're going to pick back up again in a second. It'll literally be a second for you guys. It'll probably be an hour or two for me because, well, we got to take care of the girlies and then we'll take care of Mom. So I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.